I'm Ben Jaffe, Creative Director and Bass Player at the Preservation Hall. We're back performing at the SFJAZZ, our home away from home in San Francisco. Am I right to say that that's Louis Armstrong? There's kind of no mistaking. He came through and revolutionized the way people played music. Louis Armstrong is responsible for several innovations. It's almost like the way that like Robert De Niro acts, you know, like Marlon Brando, the way that it became more lifelike when they were in their film. You couldn't tell whether it was acting or not acting. Were they improvising? Are they just documenting a conversation? And that was really what I hear in Louis Armstrong. Is he reading this music? Where's it coming from? You can really feel like music passing through him. You listen to it and you're still like, you're in awe of it. You know, it just transports you someplace else. That's crazy, I know every note of this, man. I can't remember who this is. Don't tell me. Is it Oscar Pettiford? Yeah. It's interesting about Oscar Pettiford. When I was in high school in New Orleans, all the bass players that I was first introduced to were all New Orleans-based musicians. And then I started discovering recordings. A lot of early jazz recordings. A lot of that didn't make its way to New Orleans. Things like Oscar Pettiford, you had to discover. And when you did, it was like tasting something delicious for the first time that you didn't even know existed. I was in college in Ohio and used to drive to New York because I knew these guys who would trade jazz VHS tapes. And I don't know where and how they got these things. I don't know where they came from. But if you got in with these guys, man, you could find these gems, these little things. They gave me this clip from a movie probably, and there was this 20 seconds of Oscar Pettiford playing in it. And I just remember going back and just watching that 20 seconds of him playing over and over again. Wait, what bass is he playing? Like, what's he wearing? Like, how's he holding it, you know? Yeah, Charles Mingus, I mean, he embodies everything to me. Depending on where, like what era, what period you discover Mingus. I mean, one of my favorite records is, Mingus plays piano. It's not even a bass record. You go back to the early stuff, it's like his career and his playing were sort of like, where Ray Brown or Paul Chambers were at one time. And then you see him starting to discover a way to create like this thing that he feels inside. Like you have to create the platform, like the way to like share this thing that you hear in your head, these compositions, these arrangements, this sound, this feeling. Whew. Yeah, they asked me if I would do this. I was like, gosh, I don't know, man, because when I was growing up, we all used to read Downbeat. And in the back of Downbeat on the last page, there was a blindfold test, right? And we would always give each other the blindfold tests. We would like go find the records and like do our own version of the blindfold test. And I said, is this a version of that, man? Am I gonna be graded on this? Because I can somehow.
Graded, right? You're graded on vibes, which right now we got an A++.
I don't want to listen anymore because I don't know what I would just listen all day. Yeah, I mean, that's the classic quintet. Yeah, Miles, Wayne, Herbie, Tony, Ron. That's it. We all wanted to be that trio, like that rhythm section. The Coltrane rhythm section, with Elvin, or you wanted to be the classic Miles rhythm section as a bass player. Those were the vibes, And I like both of them. Like, do you have to choose? Like, I can't, I'm like right here, man. I'm like right in the middle of this thing. How can you even compare these two things? They're like so beautiful and Ron Carter's someone that I could relate to. He approached the instrument with so much respect. The first time I heard Ron, I drove from Cleveland to New York for this bass conference. It was probably like 1990. Ron played Billy Higgins, Two Cats, in front of 200 bass people. Doesn't say anything, just unpacks his bass. Billy sets up his kit. It's a snare drum, it's a ride cymbal, hi-hat, bass, no kick, no amp, no nothing. They don't even talk. Ron just starts playing. I'm right here with them, right? So I'm getting it the whole time. Man, they did this for like 45 minutes. Never said a word. Stopped, Ron put his bass down and he just said, time. A lot of people I knew, a lot of musicians I knew growing up, couldn't relate tonally to what he was playing, or the fact that that he was playing over bar lines, or that there weren't bar lines, and that there was this freedom to what he was playing, that there was beyond chord changes. And it totally made sense to me. I like took an Ornette record and I checked it out of the library, and I went home and I put it on by myself. I was like, I'm gonna make up my own mind. I need to taste it. I don't want somebody else to tell me how it tastes or it's supposed to look or sound. Like, I want to know. And I put it on and I just started crying. This is what really blew me away, because check out who did the photograph too. Was like a good friend of my dad's, Lee Freelander, and he shot all the covers for all the Preservation Hall albums. He met my dad in 1961. The very first Preservation Hall records were on Atlantic Records in 1961, and Lee Freelander shot the covers, and I didn't even know. This is someone I knew. Like, I grew up with his kids, and I didn't know this part. I didn't know this part of him. Could you imagine like this coming out today? It wouldn't sound dated or old. I guess to me it's like the same with like those Louis Armstrong or like Jelly Roll Morton recordings. If you can get beyond the 78 scratchiness of it and hear it for what it is, it sounds like today. And Dr. John was one of those artists who completely singular. It's Dr. John. I mean, he's his own category of music. He's shared his story with me before, and one of the drummers who plays at Preservation Hall, Joe Lasty, Joe Lasty's grandfather, Papi, had a church in the lower Ninth Ward of New Orleans. Now, mind you, you weren't allowed to have drums in church at that time, and his ministry had a relationship with the juvenile detention center in New Orleans. So he would take at-risk juveniles from the detention center and have them come to church and under his mentorship. And Dr. John, Mac Rebenak, was one of those students. He says, that was my school. He took New Orleans and like shared it with the world again. Like, New Orleans just had a few moments where, like, Fats Domino, like the music all of a sudden like goes out to the world, and then we kind of come back and figure ourselves out again. And then you have somebody like Alan Toussaint or Irma Thomas, and it goes back out to the world again, and then comes back, and then it goes back out again. Mac was one of those people where, he just came back out with this thing that was like, it was him. It was just him,
Some wall water if your neighbors give you trouble, put your business in the street.
Hey everyone, Terrence Blanchard here. Thanks for watching this video. If you dug it, be sure to give it a like or leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got lots more videos coming out soon. Last note, if you want to watch some amazing concerts filmed at our venue, head over to our website and check out SF Jazz at Home. Thanks for your support and stay tuned.